Hi everyone, it's Justine. Earlier this year I said that I was learning more about photography and about how to create good photos. This video is the story of the full process of how I learned that, from learning the actual skills necessary to planning and executing an entire photo shoot. You will see behind the scene on the photo shoot day and you will see the final results, which is the photo. I wanted a creative image of the jewelry collection that I designed, not something on a white background like on a web shop. This we have everything we need already. I wanted a better, more creative image. Product photography is challenging because you're talking about very small pieces, small products, and mine are in metal, so they reflect light. First, I learned about the tools to get the technical part down, so to speak, so that it's out of the way when I actually start creating images. I watched tutorials on Skillshare, some of you might know that website already, and I started with the basics, things like fundamentals of DSLR photography. That's a good one to start with because you see examples and he really says, this photo was shot with shutter speed, blah, 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 aperture, blah, 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 ISO, so and so. If you change the aperture, this happens. If you change the ISO, that happens. I'm a visual person, so it helps me to be able to see the results and compare. Then I dove into the specifics of creating flat lays, which is something that I could reproduce and practice with pretty much alone at home. And I said, let's try and do a good flat lay of that jewelry with the props, with the lighting, whole program. Then I thought, wait, if I'm going to do a photo shoot, why not do a big one? And so one flat lay ended up being 5 completely different creative concepts, and the mini photo shoot that I wanted to do became a full day. No matter which item you're taking a photo of, I think that planning the composition ahead of the shooting day is absolutely essential. Each flat lay tutorial that you'll find online has a huge chapter on laying out the things on the table, thinking it through before anyone even grabs a camera. So I sketched what I wanted, I looked for props, I tested them, I got more props, and in the end, I also built some of the props I used. For instance, I found slices of wood. I like it because the wood is warm, it has a warm color, and it has texture on the outside. But they were too new. So I dyed the wood slices with tea. My tea was Darjeeling tea, so I let you guess how many sponges of Darjeeling you need to get the effect that you would get with actual black tea. And the answer is, it doesn't work. I ended up using coffee. I also machine washed a specific thick paper to give it texture, relief, see what would happen to the color. Thinking, how can this possibly survive being washed? But the instructions clearly said that the paper was water resistant, so I tried. First I tried to get it into the machine, and then I added detergent to see what happens. On the day of the photo shoot, I was super prepared, I was bulletproof. I think it's also the only way to get 5 photos down in one single day. You need to test, rehearse everything before. You can't guess and experiment on that day. Like, you need to know pretty much how the final result is going to look like before you even start. I was trying to put a natural looking hand.
Perhaps still a bit more this corner.
Good thing that I'm wearing a dress.
You see the edges?
Yeah, I'm fine with cropping.
Yeah. The 2 little hands are here in the middle, so the most important is that it's not
This
like
one.
this.
I need to change my seat.
Yeah.
This pose was a lot harder than I thought. Like, I would need to hold my hands super high above my head. I was literally seated under the table.
You have to make it more.
This hand is not elegant.
The right hand higher. There. This has to be more elegant.
More elegant? It's really sport. I'm like, hold, like, do like this and look natural. Like. This one is the warmest, but like right now I'm super tanned, so I think this one works better, the apricot one. That's also where I did my nails, lighter.
Okay.
Here the contrast is better if I'm wearing silver, so it matches my undertone. Because I want all the backgrounds to be completely different on the 5 photos. If I do like this, you don't see the hole. I love the contrasts. The second photo was meant to be more graphic and also more colorful than the first one.
I just want to make it a bit brighter. If you do a pause, can you cream your
I think I've never been that tanned since I live in Germany. The lower one I didn't touch, I think.
But I will clean again.
You will clean it again. Thank you.
You see everything. There's some wind coming. Do it again. I made it darker. The sharpness, I think it's sharper here.
It's better. The contrast is better.
I think just a normal t-shirt is not elegant enough, like very basic. Like,
And the blue one. So if I'm wearing a bandeau and you cut it out, so I'm wearing nothing,
yeah, that would be even better actually. But
we can do both. Okay.
yeah.
So this needs to be really black, no?
Yes, and
And the back also, does this look really black? It should look really, really black.
so
Contrast is great. My collarbones need to be at the same height.
Like, should almost be like the same level. Yes. So we have 2 options here, black and white and color.
In the end, this photo became 2 different photos because I wanted to try also from the back with the necklace worn the other way around. And that's only possible if you plan more than 1 outfit. So I actually had 4 different dresses and tops and different necklines with me in my suitcase on that day. That's the muscle?
Yeah.
There's nothing there.
Can you do another position with your arms? Perhaps there. That's good.
This is a lot more green than I thought.
Yeah,
I think this is the thing you're going to see on the photo, you know? Because also it's so big.
Yeah, it's very present. That's true.
Or I take just the little ones, the mini ones, like one bit like this.
Yeah, that would be better.
When you build houses as an architect, like you make a miniature city, for instance,
That's
you use
what
this for the stones and everything. Like those that you find next to a river, you know? You want to make one?
Yes.
I just don't want the props to be too big because the pieces are so small. So the props should not shift the focus away from the jewelry, you know?
I also can go towards the right angle. It doesn't matter.
But you need to change the light as well.
Okay, so let's just turn.
Careful. Yeah. Take the fabric. Can you see where this starts here?
Yes, I can.
No.
We should be behind the.
I wanted it
box.
to be hidden by this box with the angle. This one is actually the flat lay that I wanted to do originally before I got a little bit carried away and turned that into a huge project. Yeah, it looks good. I'm gonna change
I think this
position.
is a bit too much on the north. If you do a square, I think this is a little bit, the jewelry is a little bit too much.
You see what you're saying?
On the top. So would perhaps,
yeah,
it's too much.
We can move that a little bit. I think you can't see those.
Yeah.
This needs to change.
Can we take another branch? Be very patient to do this job.
It's the art of flat lace. You think it's easy, but it takes hours. This is the result of the wash paper. Now it looks old and used, which is exactly what I wanted. Last shot. This and this. So in the end, I used coffee instead of tea. Because this is with tea, and this is with coffee. And this is the original. Lavender, dry, old books with a nice texture and a nice cover. And this, which I found in an antique shop. Okay.
It seems that it's more difficult sometimes to make it look messy.
Yeah.
Than if you would, it's harder, right? Yeah.
Especially in the flat lay where you're planning everything and doing thinking it through in advance. Then you put the props and it looks all symmetrical and geometric and you're like, okay. You know, actually, this lavender thing was supposed to be olive branches.
Oh, okay.
I couldn't find any. I went through all the olive. So I took these ones and in the end nobody will know. This photo, the last one, was meant to be completely different again. You see it's afternoon light, it's a completely different atmosphere and different mood, even though both are pretty much from the top and pretty much like flat lace. This one is about someone who just took off their jewelry, the pieces, and just let them fall onto the bedside table next to the book, next to an old love photo, and they left. They didn't think about what the layout would look like. Everything should be a little bit covered.
Yeah, and also random, not so organized.
Is it too organized?
No, I think it's better. It's like a warm light, but not too yellow, right?
Yeah,
it's just
exactly. But you can tell it's the afternoon.
Yeah.
Yeah. In the end, you see that the 5 photos are completely different and we got options. We've got vertical, horizontal and square ones, which is super practical to play with on social media, on my website, and you'll also see more on my Instagram. Actually, by the time you get this video online, published, I will have the final photos ready to be shown. Now, I'm very curious to know first, which photo, which layout, which mood is your favorite out of the 5 and why? Second question, which one do you think best matches the original mood of the jewelry? If you've seen my previous video where I explained the inspiration for this collection, I think that one photo out of the 5 clearly is the closest to that concept, but I'm curious to see what you guys think. I'd like to thank Skillshare for sponsoring this video. I learned the skills in their tutorials. They made it possible for me to shoot that project with a team and to even hire somebody to document in film the whole day so that you guys could see it as well. Skillshare is a membership-based website where you can learn a ton of different skills, including photography, but not only. There are many, many more things that you can learn on there. And if you're interested in testing it, in trying it out, here is my code for you to get 2 months for free. The first 500 people who register will get it. I will put this link also down below in the description for you. Did you enjoy being able to see behind the scenes on the day of the photo shoot? If yes, thumbs up. Thank you very much. I know that my creative job is not like a regular office job and I get tons of questions about it. In the future, I will do my best to take you with me more often, especially to fun days and projects like this one, because it's visually, I think, interesting to see. so that you understand what it is that I do all day when I'm not filming videos for YouTube. See you next week in the next one. Take care. Bye.